All right, thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. I am declaring that there is a quorum present. With that being stated, we are beginning our Board of Elections monthly meeting, and the chair requests if there are any additions to the agenda at this time. All right, hearing none, seeing none. I am moving on to approval of the minutes that are in draft form before you. The open meeting for 2/22/24, the chair would receive a motion for approval. So moved. Is there a second? It has been seconded. The minutes for the open meeting dated 2/22/24 have been, is there any discussion? All right, all those who are in favor of approving the open meetings minutes for 2/22/24, please indicate by raising your hand. I'm sorry, Jen, I didn't see your vote. Thank you very much. It is approved with unanimous consent from all members present. Moving on to approval of the closed minutes, closed meeting minutes on 2/9/24 and 2/22/24, 2024. Is there a motion? The chair is open to a motion to approve the draft minutes for the closed meeting. So moved. Is there a second? It's been properly seconded. All those with any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. It is approved by unanimous consent, all members being present and voting on to approve the minutes. Thank you all very much for the closed session. We are now on the agenda item number 4, the administrator's report. That would be Jared.
All right. Well, thank you, Chair. Under announcements and important meetings, we've, of course, monitoring all the legislation that Maryland General Assembly has introduced and has passed. Crossover Day was March 19th, and Sine Die is rapidly approaching, which is April 8th. We've highlighted a couple of the bills for you in the report, but for this person here, I just want to say that our departmental bill, which was House Bill 14, Senate Bill 271, has passed both houses. So now they're just going to, it looks very favorable that our departmental bill is going to be passed. And our joint departmental bill with the Secretary of State's office, which was House Bill 112 and Senate Bill 291, also passed both and has a very good success rate there. So I'm very happy about that and moving forward with it. Additionally, what is required for us for the post-election procedures because of changes to the Electoral College timeline has passed and is looking for. So I'm happy that we'll be starting to be in compliance with federal law after hopefully by April 9th. And those bills are House Bill 471 and Senate Bill 494. So, and my last one that I'll mention is the governor's bill, the administration bill, which is House Bill 585 and Senate Bill 480. They have both passed their respective chambers. They're in different postures right now, but I believe that they will amend to be similar in that both houses and then be sent back. So I'm very thankful for the governor and his team for their support in helping protect us as we go forward in 2024, and for the General Assembly and Senator Kagan for making it an emergency bill as well. So I think that those have been great amendments to the process here. Overall, now I just wanted to talk about the voter outreach campaign has been fully launched, and we're going to have ads and commercials, a new landing page for the primary election. It has so far met with some nice success. And, we have tapped not only traditional media outlets for the outreach campaign, but also a lot of the streaming services as well. And it unveiled the new state board logo, which we're very happy about. The 7 stars in the logo represent Maryland being the 7th state. And of course, we have our little mission there, which is vote. But what it comprises of: verified, open, trusted, and empowering, which is our mission to the voters, and they can have full faith and confidence in the security of this election. We have worked, myself and Ms. Berry have worked closely with KO Public Affairs to ensure a smooth transition in launching out this information. So this has been a nice. I'm looking forward to this, and it's perfectly aligned with Maryland Day on Monday as well. So this is perfect. We would like to thank DBM for their continued support and with recruitment of election judges by offering 8 hours of administrative leave to state employees to serve as election judges.
Jared, real quick.
Yes.
I'm sorry. DBM stands for
Department of Budget and Management.
Thank you.
So that's been that will help with some of the recruitment. On March 6th, I participated in a discussion at the Anne Arundel Community College with this idea of recruiting election judges, and also trying to gauge some interest for beginning our internship partnership with the college. The presentation was well received.
All right, thank you. Jake has a question. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was a previous statement, or you want to hold it until the end.
I can hold it until we're done
Okay.
with this.
Yeah, I'll go through mine, and then
Okay,
when I pass
thank you.
off to someone else, then you can ask the questions
All
then.
right.
Right? So, on March 6th, I also attended an event at the Embassy of Japan. It was Maryland and Japan night there, and we have enjoyed deep historical ties of shared economic and cultural exchange. And it was intended to celebrate the partnership there. So Wes Moore and other members of the governor's cabinet were in attendance, and I was there representing Maryland's elections and our pride in that. I attended an election judge training at the Anne Arundel County Board of Elections on February 28th. It was very informative. The class was, I'd say the program was, top notch with the trainers there. I was encouraged by the attendance of actually a couple of high school students becoming election judges there for the first time, and making sure that some of our recruitment efforts do hit the younger individuals, so that that they are part of this process and help making sure that we'll always have a nice steady stream of election judges in the future. And last on important announcements was that we've been working closely with the Office of the State Prosecutor on making sure the referrals of individuals who cast more than one ballot in a single election get the necessary documents and, I would say, evidence in order to prosecute the offenses. So we've been working closely with them on making sure, and we recently, and I'll explain that again, we had a class with them in our continuing education program as well. So with that, I will stop at the important news and announcements portion.
I'm sorry, Jake,
You're muted,
before
Chair.
we move on, thank you very much. You want to ask your question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Demarinis, great work. Love the logo, love the outreach material. Quick question on the outreach. I know in previous cycles, I believe in 2020 and maybe also 22, part of the outreach at the state board and the administrator did was encouraging folks to use the mail-in, the mail-in,
Right.
mail-in vote as opposed to the fax or email version? Is that going to be part of the outreach for the cycle?
So the outreach for it is that we do talk about the three different methods of voting, each equally important. We don't recommend one method or not. They're all safe and secure. So, but we do tell them about there is the vote by mail process, and that then they can either deliver it via the post office or through our drop boxes. And then the in-person methods as well, which is early voting and on a primary day. So we kind of talk about the three ways of voting. I think what you're talking about now is the inside the mail-in and how you get it back to an individual. On that, we just did that through the application, not necessarily through the ad campaign as saying we recommend one method or not. The online method for ballot delivery is, counts just the same as if we mail it out. And what we did though is on the application and in the process of applying for it, we have added more screens to ensure that a voter understands what that entails, because the online delivery method entails a little bit difference. And so instead, when you get it mailed to you with the actual ballot, you mark it, you get a basically a return receipt envelope that's, so that you can just drop it off, and that ballot actually can go right into the scanner itself. If you get it web delivered, the individual would need a printer to make sure that they can print off the ballot. That they would have to supply, like possibly a stamp to mail that. I mean, nowadays, not many people have stamps.
I've got some in my. I guess what I'm just asking. I know from previous cycles, it becomes a burden on the local boards, and it's just as valid a method. I don't want to discourage folks from using the email, but encouraging them, I know, has been done in previous cycles. To use the mail-in mail-in ballot, and so just want to throw that out there for consideration.
So yeah, but right now it's overall, and I think since the launch it has been well received, and so that has been I've been quite happy with it so
Awesome.
far.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you enjoyed the logo as well.
Looks great.
So yes, I encourage everyone to check it out. Now on
Jared,
yes.
before moving on, I have a question though, in regards to the Office of the State Prosecutor and your work with them with regards to casting more than one ballot. Is there a notice on any of our documentation that we send out that this is a possibility to all voters, that if you are found, or if you cast more than one ballot, there's a potential for prosecution of that act, you being prosecuted for that act? Is there a notice to the public for that?
So it's, when most times it will be in the provisional ballot application, and when they fill that out, that they've only cast one ballot. That's one of the things that we've also broken out, because I think there was a category, it was category 4 in the provisional ballot, where it didn't delineate. It was just like, I received a mail-in ballot, or I have already voted, and that those two are two separate legal concepts. So that's why we have a supplement then for anybody who has that classification, to find out what exactly why they're casting that provisional ballot in that situation. And basically, and then the other portion too is that this is a fact-finding mission here. The state prosecutor, it's not dispositive of the fact that if you had tried to do this, people sometimes forget, and we have those regs, which is about casting 2 ballots and which one to count. So the General Assembly has made a little bit of a policy shift on this as well. So this is a criminal case, and it would have to rise to, I would say, beyond a reasonable doubt, and the individual would have to have the mens rea to commit the crime. But, we do take it seriously in this state here, and we've had, I would say it's rare, infrequent, and outliers, but at the same time, it's not to be ever overlooked.
Excellent. I'm really glad to hear that. I didn't know if we had any numbers regarding that from past elections, if there's any to that statement. If there is any data on that, it may be good to pull that, pull it, to have on hand for if for any board member or to know what that looks like. So thank you very much for that. I don't have anything else on that. Anyone else? Okay. Well, we can move on. Thank you, Chair.
Great. And then we have some new hires here, which I'm quite happy about. We have Victoria Barwick. She is joining us in the budget area. So our Verona Williams, our budget director there, now has some more support, which she is happy about to have. As we always need more support. I am never going to not ask for more pins and support as we go forward with it, because our agency is growing with the responsibilities that the General Assembly has mandated on us. So we're happy to take on the challenges, but we also need the personnel, and this is going to help relieve that. In my old haunt, candidacy and campaign finance, Erin Dennis, who was a great staffer for years that I worked with, always energetic. I'm ecstatic to say that she is now the deputy director over there with Alan. So I think that's a fantastic team, and I'm really I'm happy that she has been promoted. And finally, Natasha Walker, she was acting, and then she was interviewed and took it and was promoted to the director of voting systems. She has been a long-time employee as well. She does fantastic work. She just recently helped complete all the ballots for us in the state. So hats off, tip of the hat to her on that, and very happy with that. And we have Terrence Francis, who will also be joining us as a new HR officer, which I'm very happy about as well on that front there. So that's kind of all the new hires going forward. And then we recently had a election collaboration meeting with the LBE directors. It was scheduled on March 21st. And that was well received and attended. It was all a part about election management and preparations. Of course, we're also getting inundated with a couple of PIA requests and how best to handle that, and making sure that we're all together. One of the missions and one of the statements I made before that is their success is our success and our success is their success. We're all together in this 2024 primary season here. And they're also very grateful to the governor and his support for protecting them in this upcoming election as well. So, that, and now I'm going to turn it over to Mary Ann for election reform and management.
Okay, Jared, I'm sorry. I was searching for something. So the mail-in voting update, application mailing, and permanent mail-in ballot confirmation, I believe those were going to be covered by Jen. If you're not there, I can give an overview if you want.
Go ahead,
Sure,
Marianne.
sorry, Marianne. I'm happy to, if you'd like. Sure. So sorry. As Jared said, the ballots finally got designed because the deadlines for candidacy had passed. So those are done, and to the vendors. So our mail-in ballots that are being sent out by Postal Service will drop to meet the two deadlines. There's a federal deadline for UOCAVA voters on the 30th of March, Saturday, March 30th. And then that following Monday, April 1st, there's the state law about all other ballots. So anyone who had their request in a timely manner will be getting their ballots shortly thereafter. Drop boxes and excuse me, and people who have requested web delivery of their ballots will be getting them at the same time. Because those will be in people's hands within a couple weeks, ballot drop boxes are going to be deployed so that by the time people have a ballot in their hand, we'll have our drop boxes out, about a little under 300, I think, total around the state. We are also preparing to do the second mail-in ballot application mailer. So the people who didn't get it in our first round in January will see the application form in their mail by hopefully again within the next 2 weeks, because they still have time to request to do mail-in voting. This will be about 900,000 voters left to get the mailer. We, as required by state law, we reminded people who have previously signed up that they want to be permanent mail-in ballot participants, that they are on that list, and they will be getting their ballots. That's actually turned out to be very helpful, having those come back if there's any issues with addresses or such. So it's turned out to be a useful mailer in particular from that front. Carrying by text, I don't know if James is on. James might want to talk about.
You can handle that one. If not, I can run.
Sure.
through.
So as you probably know, in 2023, yes, last year, the General Assembly mandated that we add curing by texting to our list of ways people who forget to sign their oath on their mail-in ballots can cure their ballot and still have it counted. So we did a pilot previous to that legislation. We had done a pilot with Montgomery County using a vendor, and it went really well. So we are rolling that out statewide. All counties will be able to offer that service this election. Ballot status messages, that's just, people always seem to want to know, where's my ballot? When am I going to get my ballot? Did you get my ballot back? So our website has the capability to tell you the status of your ballot. It's on its way to you, or we got it back from you. And those messages are available on our website. There'll also be a little bit more detail if you want. Our vendor offers detailed USPS tracking. So if you use the USPS to get your ballot sent to you and also to send it back to us or to the locals, you can get into some real finely granular detail of where your ballot is at any given time. And voters seem to like that. It also helps us when we get calls and emails asking questions. We all have access, staff all has access to that same tracking. And then I had mentioned ballot drop boxes being deployed at the end of next week or during next week. I'm going to turn over.
You can just I'll take it over. So thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. So on the ballot drop boxes, all the 300 ballot drop boxes are going to be deployed starting March 25th, and will go through to March 27th. So they'll be out and distributed throughout all the counties. Maps have been, all the sites have been updated on our website as well as on the LBE websites. Alternate early voting centers have all their information has been submitted and reviewed and approved. Now, these are just used in case of if the approved early voting center becomes unavailable. We have backup contingency plans here. The election judge recruitment is ongoing. We're still recruiting, and will always be recruiting here. And, we receive applications from Vet the Vote, Empower the Polls. And we're also partnered with MVA to run recruitment ads in MVA branches on their screens as well. So, we're making sure that we're filling all the needs for that. Election judge training, as we have been conducting training evaluations, and it's still ongoing. So that's a part of that. And our election administration education program here, we had 2 classes held in March. The first was pertaining to an audit on identifying voters who return more than one ballot. And then the second one was a course instructed by the Office of the State Prosecutor on election law violations. right now we're going to take a break until after the primary election, but these are been very helpful and have, I would say, been well received overall and help round out necessary information to the election directors that is not in their normal course of business processes. Understanding what constitutes a PIA, what are all the election law offenses, how they can get handled. These things have been very useful for their education purposes. And we're doing some audits already. We're conducting 3 audits. The first is the automated audit of all the ballots, which uses an independent software to tabulate the ballot images, and the results from the independent tabulation are then compared to the tabulation results from the voting system. So we're ready for that, and then we conduct a comprehensive audit. So moving forward with. And then finally, we conduct a post-election manual ballot audit as well for the general election. So right now we're just in audit preparations, making sure that, what standards, how we're going to proceed moving forward for the primary and the general have begun on that front there. So definitely to making sure that the integrity of the election and the results are there for voters to feel secure about. In voter registration process here, basically, we're performing an audit of the counties that implemented redistricting changes to their county and city lines. So that's been Worcester and Baltimore City, and we're working with them to ensure that all the voters are in the proper precincts and districts right now. Everything is, going smooth. MD voters, we had a release recently, and now it's just basic, on how records are handled when it comes to Oliver, and had some improvements to the candidate filing jurisdictions, mail-in ballot application processes, and updates to the election judge module. Now we're going to go into a lockdown very soon about MD voters as we start preparing for the election up ahead. And, MD voters, we, do monthly audits of the voter registration data to continue to verify compliance with federal and state laws, as well as making sure that all the local boards of elections are processing ERIC reports, death records, and felony convictions of an individual who is incarcerated. And that's important because it's not just felony anymore. So, we're continuing on that and moving forward with, making sure that our roles are as up to date and as clean as, possible. ERIC, we receive our ERIC data on a monthly basis. And in February, we received in-state updates and cross-checked for everything. So the odd months, we received in-state duplicates and Social Security Administration death records for processing. So we'll be getting that in March. We had transactions with MVA, as always there. Moving forward, there's a nice little chart for everyone to kind of see. And we have 4.1 over 4.1 million active registered voters in for the upcoming primary election here. So we've always ranked very high on our voter registration data nationally. So it's always something to be something to take pride in on that. With this, the candidacy and campaign finance division portion here. I think
Jared,
Ellen.
before you
yes,
move
you have any
on, thank
questions?
you. Yeah, with regards to the audit for Baltimore City, precinct consolidation redistricting audit, do we have a estimated time on completion of that audit?
I will double check on that, but it will be soon. We've been ongoing with it. It is, just making sure that everyone is in the correct precinct. So I would say it should be if not completed, if very soon. Oh, it's done, as I'm being told right now. So it is
Awesome.
done. So it's all
Okay.
done.
Thank you
And,
very
so,
much.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
exactly. So, Alan,
Excellent job, guys.
thank you. Alan, do you want to take over for the candidacy and campaign finance portion?
Sure, gladly. I'll start with the public financing with Baltimore City. There's 3 more appointments needed to finish the commission. There are 3 certified candidates. There's 1 pre-certified as of yesterday. Zach Blanchard has maxed out of the program. He's the first in the program. There's been almost $387,000 dispersed, and there's the original amount was 2 million. I've been emailing with Baltimore County, answering some of their questions. Prince George's County, we had our monthly meeting to talk. They're working on their FAQs and summary guide. They're asking me really hard questions, which is a good sign. The state program has over $9 million, 9,080,000. And enforcement, the last thing, I have 1 enforcement action, and we're going to crank that up. I just, Nee's new in the audit supervisor position. We have 1 auditor. We're hiring 2 new auditors soon, so expect to see that section a little longer. That's it.
Thank you, Alan. All right, and now we'll go into information systems and technology and cybersecurity here. We're still all our major information technology development projects. We've worked with DoIT on that. As you're well aware, we're implementing the contingency plan for the poll book for the 2024 and 2025 elections. Everything has been approved by BPW, so that is underway and ready for the actual election up ahead here. The new voting system project is fully staffed, and we're working to generate and release a request for proposal for that in the near future, and the MD Chris system, which is the campaign finance reporting system, is also fully staffed, and basically working on an RFP for that system as well. In cybersecurity here, Security Operations Centers continues to operate at 24/7. Basically providing a suite of multi-layers of independent threat monitoring and managed security services for our systems. We're basically having a risk mitigation plan towards maintaining its well-defined security posture for the upcoming Maryland elections. We of course have monthly briefings and with our cybersecurity partners and federal agencies to be aware of any emerging cybersecurity threats, foreign and domestic, and how to mitigate or avoid those issues as well. In procurement news, we have, of course, right now things are always busy here. We're, like I said earlier here about the campaign finance, we have submitted it for review. Once DoIT reviews the TORF, which is basically the RFP, it will go to the state office for procurement for publication. That current contract expires on March 31st, 2025. So, it's funny when you start thinking about things now, it's like over a year away, but in procurement news and IT projects here, it goes by very, very fast. And so we have all the active procurements there and some of the modifications for you to be there. There's nothing, I would say, they're more of the smaller needs for everything as we move forward with it. And, we had correctional facility voter information packets, and, we're making sure that, the correction facilities packets are being mailed out and worked out. However, 1 to 2 facilities have been misplaced, and we're making sure that they are going to get those information packets as quickly as possible. Then in the project management team, we are just continuing our inventory audit. We have a statewide completion of 62%. And 9 local boards are at 100%, and we have 3 that are in completion greater than 90%. So, and we're doing quite well. I think we're internally, the state board is at 80% completion as well. So, those are the project management highlights that I want to bring up. In local board news, the LBEs have been working diligently to proof the election ballots for in-person voting, web delivery, and ballot marking devices. So, that has been done and completed. And, they're training election judges, processing the applications. And now it's, it's just preparing and gearing up and doing everything for the election. And we're going to begin logic and accuracy testing for the scanning units and ballot marking devices within the next couple of weeks. And finally, before I go into the exercises of delegate duties, I just wanted to make a correction from last month on the the state board approved some regulations that were for final adoptions. There were 2, which was 33-1606, which is the canvas of ballots, rejected ballots, and 33-1604, which was ballot rejection, multiple ballots from the same individual. We had said that we had not received any public comment. We received a public comment, which we had forwarded to you. It was a person that had left, and no one checked that email, and that was just nothing untoward or any sort of avenue there. We have corrected it internally to make sure that all those emails have now been forwarded to the correct person. So it was just that we just wanted to make sure that when we said that there was no comment received, I wanted to make sure that there was a comment, and that we are making sure the correction is there, and we will put it in with the for the record attached to those regulations as well. And then finally, on the exercise of delegated duties, we have no delegated duties that were exercised since the last administrator's report. And with that, I submit the administrator's report.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Jared. It looks like Jake has his hand up for a question.
Appreciate it, Mr. Chair, and Mr. Demarinis, as always, thank you for the incredibly thorough report. Thank you to you and your staff. For the TORPs, I think I'm pronouncing that right, that you mentioned, doesn't have to be now. Can you send over to us the amount that each of these TORPs will be, just so we can kind of wrap our head around the financial size of these projects?
That will be addressed in the actual closed session today.
Okay.
Really, that I can't really discuss that because in a sense we want to get bids. So if I tell you that, right, like
Gotcha.
right.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Jared and members, as well as staff, for your thorough execution of your role and responsibilities. Thank you so very much. And with that, we are moving on per the agenda to number 5, the Assistant Attorney General's report. Dan Corbin, it's your show.
Good afternoon, members of the State Board. 5 cases to report on currently on the list with the State Board of Elections. The first is actually going to come off of the list after this meeting. It's Harvey v. Demarinis in the Supreme Court. On February 28th, pursuant to the settlement agreement signed by all parties, the Supreme Court did what the parties asked it to do, which was dismiss the case, remand it back to the circuit court, dismiss the appeal, remand it back to the circuit court. The circuit court dismissed the complaint with prejudice. The complaint therefore no longer exists, and the case no longer exists. That litigation is now over and concluded. So that's going to come off the list after this meeting. Second case, Sullivan v. Summers, is the NVRA suit. On March 8th, OAG filed a motion to dismiss that suit with exhibits attached. On March 29th, or the plaintiffs have until March 29th to file a response to that motion. And we'll move from there. We'll get either there'll be one more reply by OAG, or if not, it'll go into the district court's hands to sort of decide the motion and decide where that litigation goes. The Wicomico County v. NAACP, or Wicomico County NAACP v. Wicomico County case is currently still pending in the same holding pattern. OAG still is planning on filing an amended complaint, or a response to the amended complaint, before March 29th. So there's nothing really to report. Nothing has changed with that case since our last meeting. Gibson v. Frederick County, same story. Nothing has changed since our last meeting. That remains pending before the Fourth Circuit with no input by the parties. There's still a pending motion requesting oral argument that has not been addressed or answered by the court. And the case is fully briefed, so it could receive a decision any day now. Number 5 on the list is a new case, Maryland Election Integrity Limited Liability Corporation versus the Maryland State Board of Election. This suit is 2 organizations, Maryland Election Integrity, which is a Maryland LLC, and United Sovereign Americans, which is a Missouri nonprofit corporation, have sued the State Board of Elections, alleging that the State Board has maladministered the election operations for the state over the past 6 to 8 years. That's kind of the time frame for the complaint. It alleges a number of violations of federal and state law, and it requests injunctive relief, asking that the state of Maryland not be allowed to administer or certify the results of an election until these problems are fixed. It asks for that in relation to the November 2024 general election. It does not ask for anything having to do with the May primary. The due date for a motion to dismiss or for other responsive pleadings in that case is March 28th. OAG will be filing a response before that date.
All right, thank you, Dan. I see you there, Vice Chair. Go ahead.
So 2 questions. When you say OAG, like, I'm assuming like Maryland Election Integrity, that's you filing that, right?
Yes. That's,
On the other one, are we filing that, or is that, or for the number 3, the Wicomico County, who's filing that? Is that, are you involved in that?
I am. So this is a little inside baseball, but every time I say OAG, because I am an assistant attorney general, I mean me.
Okay. Okay.
And so, to be clear, OAG means the Office of Attorney General. Thank you.
Yes.
For which Dan is in service of. Okay, thank you. Is there anything else? Thank you very much, Dan. I really appreciate your thorough explanation. With regards to number 6, we're looking at approval of waiver requests for Title 13 waiver request.
Yep, Alan's going to handle 6, 7, and 8 on the agenda now.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. I have 7 waiver requests from committees, and I have a list from OSP for de minimis. And that's what I have. Let me know if you have any questions.
Are there any questions from the members? The chair has none. Is there a motion to approve the administrator's request for Title 13 waivers? So moved. Is there a second? It's been properly seconded. All those in favor of approving? It is unanimous with the consent of the board. Thank you very much. So it is so moved. Number 7, Alan, on the
Okay,
agenda, approval of waiver request, Title 14.
sure. Title 14, I have 2 approvals and 5 denials. And let me know if you have any questions.
I have none. Members? Per your review? No questions. All right. The chair will accept the motion to approve the recommendations from the staff from the state administrator for Title 14 waivers. I see a motion. Is there a second? Has been properly seconded. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. The chair's confirms unanimous consent. A recognition of all yeas to accept the approval of the Title 14 waiver request. Thank you very much, Alan. Now we're on to number 8, approval of confidentiality request.
Okay, for this month, I only have one confidentiality request to present.
All right, is there a motion? The chair is open for a motion to accept.
I have
Go
a
ahead, Jay.
question, Mr. Chair. Yeah,
Problem?
Mr. Norfleet, I don't think we got those in the material that was emailed. Mr. Chair, can we just circle back to this at the end of the meeting? And if it can just be emailed around to us so we can just see them before.
Alan, would you be not a problem? Alan, would you be able to read off the?
It's
mean, not
it's a
the name.
confidentiality request.
So
Not
we'll
that.
send it out.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
we'll have it sent out. Yeah, Alan, if you just send it to me, and I'll make sure that I'll send it out to the board members as well.
Okay, we'll do.
It was probably just, yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, can we just move this to the end of the agenda?
So,
Thank you.
thank you very much for that. Now, number 9, emergency polling place changes.
Sure. Tyler Carr, for the Director of Voter Registration, will be presenting these 3 polling place changes for your approval.
Thanks, Jared. So because of the election calendar, these polling place changes were previously approved in the February meeting, but they also require approval as an emergency polling place change. You should have received polling place changes for Baltimore City, Worcester County, and Montgomery County. So that's what needs to be approved today.
All right, is there a motion to approve? So moved. Is there a second? Probably seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the emergency polling place changes? Thank you very much. It is unanimous with the consent of the board to approve the emergency polling place changes. All right, number 10, LBE ballot marking device approval, local
Yes.
board of election marking, ballot marking device approval. Yeah, go ahead.
So yes, some local boards have requested additional ballot marking devices to be used at polling places and early voting centers. According to, this is something that you would have to approve if they're administered. So basically by the law and in our agreement, each facility is required to have at least 3 ballot marking devices, but local boards may be authorized to have up to 6 per early voting center on election day without attaining approval for the board. So anything above 3 or 6 requires approval of the board. In front of you is the requests from Allegheny County, Caroline, Montgomery, Somerset, and Washington to increase that number, most notably to just a few here and there. And we included one of the reasons is the number of registered voters that those jurisdictions and those precincts actually service. And for early voting, we just kind of did the highest turnout on a single day of early voting for your knowledge to show the volume that these facilities have gotten. Each one of these requests have been reviewed, and we would recommend approval of the increases.
You have a question,
Thanks.
Jake, and then I
Yes,
see
Mr.
Janet. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Mariners, just a quick one. I know BMDs are in short supply. Do we have the capacity to cover all of these requests?
Yes, yes, we do have that.
And have we communicated to the local boards basically get in those requests now because we're running out of time sort of thing.
Yes, yes. So every LBE has kind of, is looking at it. I think a few more will be coming back in April for requests for the May election. So right now, everyone is going through, looking at the numbers, seeing some past results, the turnout figures, and that it is while the presidential election might not be highly contested, there's a lot of highly contested elections down the ballot. So now people want to making sure that, and I want to make sure that all the voters are serviced here. So if we have a few of them there, we will kind of start deploying it. But everyone, I just want to make sure that every county and every polling place and every early voting center meets the minimum thresholds required by law and for our settlements as well.
Great. Thank you.
All right, Janet.
Hi, I assume that, well, maybe I shouldn't, as the counties requested more, were there like demographic factors taken into account other than just the turnout? Because I know that polling places near senior living centers and things like that have often felt, expressed a need for more BMDs. So were you, was that part of the evaluation to approve?
I think that was the part of the evaluation that the locals did for the request. But we looked at the numbers and the historical information of past results there, but definitely that the LBEs did that to consider in their locations as well.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So Jared, this is basically approving the local board of elections request.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there a motion? So moved. Is there a second? It's properly seconded. Any discussion? Thank you all very much. All those in favor of accepting the approval for the local board elections ballot marking devices? So moved. It is unanimous. Thank you all very much. Moving on to number 11, local board of elections board bylaws approval.
So the bylaws that have been presented from these 11 counties meet the requirements of they were modeled off of our bylaws, and they have been basically voted on and signed off on as being approved by our staff here. And the slight changes that each of the counties made were just minor technical stuff that was for the counties specifically, but nothing of substantial nature here. And all of them have been signed off by the local board members as well. So this is just kind of, I think, just approving that the staff has reviewed it and is recommending approval of the bylaws. It's similar to the state board bylaw process that we have, but you just basically have just that we've reviewed it and recommend approval of these 11.
All right, is there a motion to approve the accept the recommendations? So moved. Is there a second? Thank you very much. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. All right, I have unanimous consent of approval of the board's recommendation. The board's recommendation of the local board elections bylaws. Thank you very much. We are now at old business.
But I guess
did you have something else?
Did you guys get the email that was sent around on the confidential voter?
Let me see.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
One
So-
second.
Alan, do you want to come back for that one?
Yes.
I didn't want to go to old business before we got rid of all the agenda items.
Yes.
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay.
I have one request.
All right, is there everyone have it? Reviewed it? Janet?
No, I've got to sign into my state email, which is a multi-step process, so. Hold on.
No
I
problem.
trust you all. I trust you.
No, we're, are you logging in now? I will say I do appreciate, Janet, you are logging in, right? Okay. I do appreciate everyone's time and patience as we move through this. Thank you, Jake, for that catch. Is that I see you're nodding your head, Janet. Is that a yes? All right. Thank you very much. Is there a motion? So moved. Is there a second? Properly seconded. All those, is there any discussion? No? Oh, okay. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. It is unanimous consent to approve the confidentiality request. Thank you so very, very much. All right. Now, and I appreciate that, Jared. We're slowing the roll. We're number 12, old business discussion of the delegation of duties. I do know we are trying to move this out of old business and for a more robust discussion to be included in the agenda for approval. But with that, there's still, I think, a few updates to this before we move on. And so I'm proposing that this is pushed to our next meeting, April 24th. I saw a thumbs up there. We're all right with that. If you have any comments, folks, or if you'd like to discuss or highlight any recommendations prior to that, you can, shoot them to me and I'll share them with the state administrator in preparation for discussion. All right. All right. Thank you all very much. Moving on, is there any new business? No new business. Okay. Moving on to number 14, disclosure of campaign contributions. Does anyone have any contributions to declare? No. All right. Thank you very much. And we just mentioned our possible next meeting being April 24th instead of that Thursday. It'll be Wednesday. And I are we good with that? Okay. Thank you all so very
At
much.
2 o'clock, Mr. Chair?
Well, I think we propose either 2 or 2:30. Which works best for you guys?
2:30 would be easier for me that particular.
If that's what the vice chair wants, I'm not standing in his way.
Oh, thank goodness it wasn't the chair. Thank you,
Well,
Mr.
that
Vice
would
Chair.
be- that would be a different matter.
Just
That would be a
kidding.
different
I
matter.
had to do it. I had to do it before we close this thing. All right. Anyway, thank you very much, Jake. I appreciate it. So 2:30 is what we're looking at. Thank you all very much for April 24th. Now, with regards to a closed meeting, is there a motion for a closed meeting? The chair would entertain a motion. I see it move. So moved. Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, can you just read out the motion?
The script.
The script.
Yeah.
I will. I see there's a motion. Is there a second? It's been probably seconded. All those in favor of a closed meeting, please indicate by raising your hand. Thank you. It is unanimous. Based on statutory authority to close session, the meeting will be closed under general provision only to discuss and consult with counsel to obtain legal advice, to consult with staff consultants or other individuals about pending or potential litigation, as well as to comply with a specific constitutional, statutory, as to before a contract is awarded or bids are bid or proposal if public discussion or disclosure would adversely impact the ability of the public body to participate in the competitive bidding or proposal process. This is speaking to citation number 3-305B 7, 8, and 14. All right. It has been moved. Thank you all so very much. This statement has been made by Michael Summers, presiding officer. And with that, we are moving to a closed session. Now, we will not be back for open session. We will not return for open session. We will close the meeting in closed session. All right, folks. Thank you so very much. See you shortly.